Well, good morning and welcome, everybody. This is the 14th, next year will be the Big 15, annual Meridian Summit, Shaping Geopolitical Futures. This year, Meridian also celebrates 65 years of coming together to strengthen diplomacy and, frankly, cooperation. We're at a time of enormous shifting alliances, technological breakthroughs, and a lot of uncertainty. Soft power seems to be out of vogue and out of fashion and out of step. And I think one of the things we're going to do today, and what Meridian believes in, is how do we also supplement where we are in the world with soft power? How do we connect people? How do we have a better dialogue to better understand what those differences are and finding common ground? So this summit will bring together decision makers and look at different strategies, find innovation, and build networks and conversation. I want to thank all of you for coming, both in the audience and those who will be up or here on stage, for coming together to think through some of these new approaches. How do we find a pathway towards a more stable, a more just, a more fair, a more prosperous, and also a more interconnected world? So I want to do a couple of thank yous before we start. First, our chairs, Selah and Art Collins, sitting right here in the front. Let me just... And you see them on the screen. Senator David McCormick and his wife, the Honorable Dina Powell McCormick, Senator Mark Warner, and Lisa Colas. We also have our corporate chairs. General Motors and the CEO, Mary Barra, who will be honoring a little later this morning. Our Congressional Engagement Chair, Intel. Our Innovation Chair, Cisco. And our Ambassador Circle partners, Affleck, I hesitate the word, Amazon World Service, Global World Services, Intuit, and Microsoft. Also a media partner, Punchbowl News, and our longtime collaborator and partner, Jim Clifton and Gallup, who have given us the space to use today. You will see people with a white lanyard, and I see one right here in the front. So if you have any questions, those with white lanyards really know what's going on and can guide you and direct you. Those with blue, like myself, have no idea what's going on. Later today, we are also going to honor Stuart Holliday in a special tribute for his 19 years of service. But right now, what I'd like to do is introduce our interim CEO, Deborah Lehr, who has been my colleague on the board of trustees of Meridian. Deborah, as many of you know, is a respected leader and advisor. She has very deep experience in trade and international business. I actually first met Deborah in 2018, 2019. I was working on a book when she was working with Hank Paulson. And frankly, it is Deborah working with Secretary Paulson who conceived of and launched the first U.S. and Strategic and Economic Dialogue, which began in the first, in George W. Bush's administration. We continued it through the entire Obama administration, at that point meeting at least once a year, alternating in Beijing and Washington. Regrettably, that dialogue has ended, but it was an important way of knowing who's on the other side of the table. And I will give you one example of what was, I thought, so wonderful about that dialogue that Deborah worked with his secretary to pioneer. I would sit on the American side, and you would see a diverse group of perspectives, men, women, people of color, the full diversity of the United States. And we would face the other side of the table, and there would be 18 or 20 men, all with perfectly dyed black hair on the Chinese side. And it really was a stark reminder of the difference between our two countries. Yet at the same time, it was there to try and forge some common ground and where can we work together. Now, Deborah has her own company. It's called Vaselina. And where does that come from? I did a little bit of research. It was first the first all-female political party in ancient Greece. And importantly, one of their key duties was the marriage to Dionysus. So Deborah knows a lot about wine, as does her husband. But more importantly, she has worked to advance global leadership and dialogue and find common ground. So would you please join me in welcoming Deborah Lehr to the stage.
Thank you, Fred. I think that probably was one of the more unique introductions that I've ever had. But I appreciate it. And many thanks to all of you for joining us today. We're excited for what lays ahead and so pleased that you could join us so early this morning for today's summit. I'm really deeply honored and very proud to shepherd Meridian through this very important transition. As the interim CEO, my commitment is to ensure that Meridian remains the very vibrant platform that it's been, where leaders innovate and collaborate for a more stable and prosperous future. And I look forward to navigating this with all of you. We see many of the trustees in the audience and many supporters, and we're just deeply grateful for all that you do to ensure that Meridian's mission remains strong. We have a very exciting program today. We'll explore the future of global engagement through multiple lenses: how trust, technology, talent are reshaping leadership, the evolving geography of industry and supply chains, the strategic assets that are now bargaining chips in a very complex global economy, and how the United States is advancing cybersecurity and geoeconomic strategies. How we see the world and experience today's conversations is shaped by our roles, background, and perspectives. And to capture the broad range of views in this room, please take out your phones. We want to do a quick poll and make this interactive. Please scan the QR code on the screen. Oh, great, everybody. Enter the summit's 6-digit code, and you'll be prompted to answer: which perspectives do you believe will have the greatest impact on shaping the future of open diplomacy over the next decade? There is no right or wrong answer, so don't worry. But I invite you to keep this question in mind throughout the day as we explore different aspects of global engagement. So our summit began this morning with the return of the Catalyst Conversations, which are focused discussions in a dynamic environment that allow participants to engage directly with experts. If you missed the morning sessions on financial technology and sovereign AI, I encourage you to attend the upcoming Catalyst Conversation on foreign direct investment, security cooperation, or energy and technology during the networking break. The full agenda and speaker biographies are available online, accessible through the QR code in your program and on the back of your credentials. So this year, as Fred mentioned, marks a milestone as Meridian celebrates its 65th anniversary as a trusted platform for diplomacy and international exchange. And as all of you know, since you're on the front lines of geopolitics, the world is more complex, more uncertain, and the stakes are higher. The threats have changed, so therefore our approach must change. We need bold, innovative solutions that leverage America's greatest strengths: our people, our ideas, our enterprise, and our culture, because a better future depends on America's leadership and engagement. That's why, as part of our new 10-year strategy, we are very proud to introduce our new mission: empowering leaders for the next era of diplomacy. Diplomacy no longer belongs just to government. Business leaders, governors, mayors, scientists, athletes, artists, everyone is the new diplomat. They tackle challenges that governments alone can't tackle. And today, Meridian is very happy to be taking the mission forward, understanding the new role of diplomacy, and we're launching 2 new initiatives: the Center for Technology, Innovation, and Space, and the Center for State and Local Diplomacy. We think these are very reflective of the important aspects of the new open diplomacy. They reflect our commitment to the future And so they join Meridian's other ongoing initiatives in corporate diplomacy, culture and sports, and diplomatic engagement, expanding the tools, the networks, the partnerships that define global leadership today. And we're very proud to have all of you who reflect the very mission that Meridian is about, reflecting the international community, but also the arts, the business community, and others who play such an important role in ensuring U.S. diplomacy, but global diplomacy continues, and we find ways to cooperate and coordinate. Now, let's look at the results. If you can put them up there. Okay. We see business leaders as the top. Maybe that's reflective of the audience, but thank you to our corporate sponsors. Maybe we don't have as many artists and athletes in the room. Oh no, there's one. TK, sorry. Governors and mayors, excellent. Next generation leaders, very, very spot on. Traditional diplomats, sorry. And scientists, technologists. Well, this is a very interesting, quick poll, but let's see how at the end of the day we should do this again to see if it's reflective of what you hear after our discussion. Honored guests, on behalf of Meridian, welcome to the 2025 Meridian Summit.